how do you make your customers feel? That is the most important thread throughout all of your marketing communications from start to finish, whether it's the landing page that you scan with a QR code, whether it's the TV commercial, whether it's a billboard or an email. So,
I mean, those two things are things that every brand, no matter service-based, product-based, doesn't matter. If you can do those two things right, you're going to be okay. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Name Drop Podcast. Today we're sitting down with an expert in the digital and e-commerce space who's been working in the health and wellness industry for quite some time now. We are going to be talking about a lot of hot takes, so if you're into that kind of thing, you will love this episode. There might even be a little ranting here or there, so get excited. And as always, thanks for tuning in. We're going to start off with some rapid fire questions just to get us warmed up.
All right, let's do it.
You ready?
I've been waiting to hang out with you again in person. Let's do it on camera.
What was the last show you binge watched?
Oh gosh. Well, we were the last people on Earth to watch White Lotus. And
welcome.
So once you start, you hit that hard.
Yeah.
So it would be the White Lotus third season.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I have lots of thoughts on it. What'd you think?
I liked it. And I feel like the haters need to just calm down.
Okay, what'd you think of the three women?
I liked that storyline.
Didn't you? Because it's so real.
Yes. Like the finale, when Lori went on her little monologue, I was like, that's some of the best TV writing I've seen in a long time.
Oh, she's got to get an Emmy. Between that and her like full sprint out that window.
Unbelievable.
Total Emmy. And it was neat how they like went back together because like, oh, in true White Lotus, they don't change.
No.
Like you expose their flaws, they reveal the flaws to everybody, including themselves, and then they're like, no, we're good.
Yep. We're just to keep being who we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a good one.
It was a good one. What is your most used emoji?
Oh gosh. This is so funny. I probably still do the melty face. I do a lot of melty faces and I do a lot of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm laughing because in my head, I work with amazing people, and some of the people on my team are younger women in their 20s. And I twice now have attempted to use an emoji that they had to stop me and be like, that doesn't mean what you think it means. So let's pull that one back.
Don't do that. Yeah. I was using the, the one that has a little like sweat drip that comes down.
Yeah.
And my younger sister was like, please stop using that. That is what like chuggy millennials use, and you need to know better. And I was like,
chug.
Yeah,
I leaned in,
but I like that one. It really says a lot.
It says a lot.
It's like I know that I'm probably being annoying, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's what it says to me.
Mm-hmm. Try the puddle or the upside down smiley.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's really a choose your own adventure. It's what it means.
It is.
Yeah.
If you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Oh gosh, I think I'd go back to Italy and drown my stress in carbs. Where would you go?
That sounds nice. Honestly, Italy is at the top of my list recently again, too. Yeah, I'm like, that sounds good. There's like food,
wine,
slow,
sun, good accents,
hang
great
out.
style.
Yeah, it sounds really nice. What's a talent you have that most people don't know about?
Well, I can always have like 5 conversations going on at once in my head. So I don't know if that's a talent or something to talk to a therapist about. I love to sing. I'm a very good singer in my car. I'm a very good singer in the shower, not so much in front of other people.
I love that.
I love to sing as long as nobody can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever in the choir?
I was, absolutely.
I was too.
In nerd choir.
Yep.
My mom was actually an opera singer.
Really? Oh, that's
a lyrical
cool.
opera singer.
Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so you're like probably actually a good singer then.
I'm not, but I can tell when people are. And so it's also interesting when you have 3 kids because you can clearly see who's born with it and which ones aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But they all have their gifts. Journaling, I love the idea of journaling.
Me too.
Wow, a lot of successful people journal.
Yeah.
I love the idea of stoicism. I love all of that. I don't journal.
No.
I doodle when I'm thinking about things, or like if I'm in a meeting, doodling helps me process what I'm trying to, or like I'll just write down certain words and people think I'm taking notes, but really I'm just digesting the next steps. But not a journaler.
Yeah, no, me either. I am addicted to acupuncture right now.
Okay,
and
I think
that's my new habit.
Oh, it's a great one.
It's a really good one. I think it's changing my life, honestly.
Oh, it probably is.
Like truly. And I think that's my meditation, quote unquote. So
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to lay there for 30
lay
minutes
there.
after they jab you?
Right. And you're not doing anything. You're just laying there.
See, you are getting your meditation in.
Yep. It's just sneaky. If you, oh God, I don't know if I would have a hard time answering this one. So we'll see. If you had a theme song, what would it be?
Maybe like a Freddie Mercury song, or it really depends on the day. I mean, I've been playing Chappell Roan for like the last 2 years on nonstop.
That's fair.
So
okay,
that one's probably what I'm going to edit out. But yeah.
So without telling us who you are, what is top of mind professionally?
Ooh,
any hot takes? You always have a good hot take.
I have a couple hot takes.
Okay,
actually.
let's hear them. Okay. Let's do it.
Let's just do some hot takes.
Yeah.
Hot take number 1. I am so sick of everybody chasing CAC or CPA. And here's why.
Okay.
We are constantly chasing our tails. If you're constantly looking for the lowest possible new customer. And I say that because I don't care if they're the cheapest if they don't stay with us, or if they're not the right customer or the right fit for us. And when you think of a math equation, if all the other variables like AOV, LTV, and retention, if those all stay the same, then of course you're lowering your customer acquisition costs is great. But it's likely not staying the same when you're lowering your customer acquisition costs, and you're also not able to have the freedom to tap and be aggressive, or to be aggressive and tap into different audience or tactics or angles and try and broaden your reach. So I totally believe in a wholesome, healthy combo, like a ratio that you have to stay true to. But I think the whole conversation about CAC and ROAS is a little backwards. I think the conversation needs to be, how many profitable customers can you bring that are the right fit for your brand?
So quality.
Yeah.
Quality.
100%. And then that's how you scale. Because there's enough good stuff to go around.
So do you think, is there a metric that you think people should chase, or is there never a single metric?
I don't think you ever chase a single metric. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take a step back. This goes into my next rant, but it'll tie back together.
Okay.
So I actually think how we manage agencies is a little bit broken, right? I was speaking to somebody last week who's the CEO of Pilot House Digital, super smart guy, great team. And he used the analogy that I'm about to use, and I told him it was so good I'm going to steal it. So he gets his commission on this one. The way we as brands hire agencies currently, we've got a Google agency, we've got an Amazon agency, we've got creative agency, UGC, affiliate. And it's like taking a car and saying, hey, you make the wheels, you make the windshield, you do the steering wheel. If they don't know if you're trying to build a minivan or if you're trying to build a race car, are you going for most efficient, economic, or are you trying to build the sexiest Batmobile? Like, what is the car supposed to do? Where is it going? That piece is missing when we break out all of our agencies, right? So how do you tie it together and incentivize people on where you want it to go? Which brings me back to that metric. And I'm not quite sure I figured it out. I have some ideas. We're going to be flexing a little bit this year with how we manage our business. But where I think it should be going is, it's beyond QBRs. This is the type of car I want to build. And as a brand, it's my job to communicate that to them. But this is my revenue goal and this is my profitability goal, because we're not in the business to just, like, the era of growing at all costs because we're burning VC money because it's post-COVID. That's all done, right? Like, we're here to build sustainable businesses. If you're a big company and you're already acquired, like, you're accountable to quarterly KPIs. It gets published, like, to everybody, like, very ruthless KPIs. If you're not, and you're trying to be acquired or you're trying to grow, you're not going to get funding or even get looked at if you're not sustainable, if you're not growing a real business. So I've got revenue goals and I've got profitability goals. how do we build this car that gets us there? And how am I communicating those metrics holistically to the team? And whether you are in charge as the brand to tell the tire company and the windshield company all of that information, or somehow you merge pieces, or, the information that you share, that's really the most important piece, in my opinion.
So I agree with the point that I don't think that agencies should only be specialized. I think that there's a lot of value in having a group that can do many things with the goal of accomplishing a broader business objective. And we've faced a lot of pushback as an agency for being a full service group and not specializing in specific tactics, because there's thoughts out there that if you're not specializing, then you're not that good. There's going to be somebody out there that's better at that one thing than you are.
Okay. I've got it. Here's my counter to that immediately. How do we consume media today? Is it the same way we did a year ago, 2 years ago? Okay, I don't want to date myself, but when I started media buying, we were doing right-hand side ads on Facebook. Nobody knows their Facebook password. Nobody even knows what a right-hand side ad is, right?
No, they don't.
The way we consume...
It's so true.
I'm always supposed to
They don't. I mean, I do, but I know that I haven't thought about a right-hand side in a long time.
Right? I'm a little embarrassed I just shared that, but it's the fact of the matter, right?
Yeah.
How and this is what makes our job so cool. How we consume media changes our culture, and culture changes how we consume media, and it goes so fast. I laugh at anyone who says that they could be a specialist. I truly do, because it evolves so much. And frankly, if I'm going to go out a little high horse, there's a lot of bad media buyers out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of arrogant creatives.
Yes.
And guess what? I'm a bad media buyer, and I'm also arrogant at times. So let me not throw stones at glass homes, or whatever the saying is. But, find people who understand how consumers behave, which, spoiler alert, that's the one thing that stayed consistent, right, is why we behave the way we do. So if you've worked with agencies who understand consumer psychology and are nimble enough and curious enough to evolve with the change of media consumption habits, to me, you're probably a great generalist agency that can do quite a bit, because that's the only way that you can stay ahead.
I agree. I have said, well, I used to say this a lot, and then my team started making fun of me, so I stopped, because sometimes you start saying things and you're like, I'm beating a dead horse. But we're not experts. And I don't want to use the term expert, because I don't think it's possible to be an expert in this space. Not right now.
Things change so fast.
Too fast. And if you start to tout the expertise all the time, then you're probably missing other options that could be really valuable for the consumers that you're talking to, or the brands that you're working with, because you're too busy focusing on your expertise.
And here's the other thing. Let's say, and granted, there's amazing experts in their space, to be sure. But as the brand going to those agencies, do I get to work with you, Molly, directly? Are you the one managing my account? I mean, you can't scale an agency that way.
No.
So there's that other component of like, yeah, maybe I trust that this figurehead is the expert, but then you're also trusting that they were able to distill what their secret sauce is down to whoever is managing your account.
Right.
And sometimes the greats can do it, and not everyone can. So yeah, I agree with you. I do challenge the idea on experts.
So how much do you think agencies need to change versus how brands manage agencies need to change?
I've got more rants in that case.
Please.
First of all, everyone's going to roll their eyes at this one unless you sit in my shoes as the brand, okay? So caveat, Band-Aid, tear it off. First of all, the way agencies model their business, and partners, like tech partners too. Let's just talk about this for a second, because I need y'all to understand it doesn't fully make sense for people in my seat. And what I want are true partners that I don't even have to worry about this with. Okay. So hear me out. First of all, SaaS is dead. Okay. The way with AI is you're charging people per seat. That's as that brand scales, you are making yourself unsustainable. Find a more creative way to charge consumers for any sort of SaaS technology, or else we'll build it with AI. AI is completely flipping that on its head. I'll move that to the side, right? Then then we're thinking agency partners, or a lot of creative agencies are now pitching me on percentage of media spend, which sounds good at first. Hear me out. I'm sorry. Hear me out. But then I've got a couple tech partners that are also pitching you on percentage of spend attributed to their tech. And then I've got different agencies that I think I'm going to be fancy with, and we're either doing a percentage of revenue, or you build in targets, or it's a percentage of spend. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to get to a unified goal, but we've overly complicated it. How am I supposed to figure out my true marketing efficiency, my true MER, when like some campaign, like there's all these sliced and diced fees that you don't see in your ads manager, you don't see in whatever you're using for your attribution. So that already is like too complex, or I can't get a full picture on it. And what is the famous saying? Show me an incentive and I'll show you an outcome. So you're going to try to get me to spend. My reps at every place, like we all know this, right? Like, and more power to them. The good ones give me the tools to succeed, so I want to scale, but like everyone's just trying to get me to scale so they get their cut. If everyone, going back to the car analogy, if everyone's like incentive is revenue and profitability, and we drive that car and we get there, let's open up champagne together at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with that model where it's hard to also trust the intentions of the recommendations. And so you can get a lot of noise. So I really do think that model, and also like the short term of it as well, like if we can extend the window so that we are free to test and try new things. Otherwise you are constantly going to chase CAC or that short term KPI, whatever that is. Like we have to extend the window longer and still make it worth everyone's time. Everybody still gets their flowers. Everybody's still incentivized to give you their best work. But we need space to make mistakes. We need space to stretch, but we still have to hit those goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I hate the percentage of spend model. So we are on the same page. I think it's terrible. I thought it's been terrible since the first agency I worked at. Yeah, literally. Like the first agency I worked at, we did a percentage of spend model. And I remember thinking, as a dumb 22-year-old, like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's putting incentives in the wrong places.
100%.
And I can see, which I haven't thought about it from your perspective of how do you really measure impact? No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't be able to either.
It's so convoluted.
That's confusing.
Tiers, kickbacks, influencers get a percentage of their whitelisting. Like it's
no,
please, somebody come. No. Like it's what is that meme of the guy smoking from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and there's like a web behind him of like he's trying to figure something out. Where you get what I'm saying.
I do. I do.
What I want to talk about is not, how much do I owe you? I want to talk about what, like, I want to have a great relationship with you so we can brainstorm collaboratively.
Yeah. The problem, though, I will say, to play devil's advocate, is that, yes, I totally believe that if the agency or the partners understand the broader business goals, they should be acting in service of the brand or business that they're working with. And that should be everyone's North Star, right? Yeah. However, if the brand doesn't let the partner in to what's actually happening in the business, why decisions are being made, like open the floodgates and transparency, then it's really hard for the agency to know how they can provide the most value.
I fully agree. Like it's not just like internal roadblocks, but it's also like, wow, maybe like the retention is so, why is that separate from the acquisition team? Like that communication needs to be held. Like testing new messaging and acquisition, if you're not weaving that through the entire customer journey, wow, what a disconnect once they become a customer. So it is 100% on that client again to be, I guess the vision that comes to my head is like the person on the tarmac who's with the lights that's directing the plane's traffic.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on the role of brand managers being glorified like agency project managers these days? True or false?
Is that what people say?
I've heard that out there on the streets. I see it and I'm like, I feel like that sucks. But is it true or is it just...
The brand managers are like glorified agency project managers? Yeah. I would say the crappy ones. Okay. Yeah. Maybe the crappy ones. I mean... Again, well, to be fair, poor brand managers, like at larger companies, like they have so much on their plate.
True.
Like they have to talk about profitability and innovation and review. Like there's
Yeah.
so much they're responsible for, to be fair. But the smart ones leverage smart people and trust smart people, and communicate what they need. And they're not afraid to communicate what they don't need. Right?
Yeah.
So I would say that not the best ones.
Okay. I'll take that.
Not everybody's good at their job.
I mean, also true, but I don't like that for brand managers. I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. But I think that is what, that's part of a symptom of the model being a little broken, is that
well, I'm an e-commerce
turns into
girl,
that.
so
That's true. That's true. Okay, so can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Oh, sure. So my name is Eleah Portillo. I am the Vice President of Marketing for Wellness. We are a performance supplement and functional foods brand that was started by Phil Mickelson. He is, if you don't know who he is arguably one of the best golfers in the world, and it was also co-founded by his good friend Dave Phillips, who is arguably one of the best performance coaches in the world. And
interesting.
yeah.
What a duo.
I absolutely love everything about my job, but if you told me that I'd be working in a golf space, I would have laughed because I've barely done putt-putt. What's interesting about my company is, and this is honestly my advice for anyone, is like, if you're going to work for a brand you absolutely love, because one, you are going to be living and breathing this brand for years, right? And you should be its biggest advocate and cheerleader. And if you're not, get out and find a role that excites you at a different company. I love this product and I love this brand because I truly believe in it. There's very few there's very few industries and categories that I would even want to be in CPG.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to get into what I don't want to do, but I do love helping people take accountability for the health and feel a little bit better. And these products are absolutely incredible.
That's awesome.
Phil actually had psoriatic arthritis. And so he was peak of his game, super successful, woke up one day, incredible pain. And of course he has the best doctors. Of course he has like assistants who have assistants who have assistants, so everyone's trying to help. And his friend Dave was like, I got you, brother. Let me just mix some concoctions together. And he thought, well, Phil's probably not going to take, he's not really good about taking like a supplement regimen, but if I mix all these together in his coffee and it's just part of his morning ritual, it'll be great. And so he created something that really addressed his needs of tackling inflammation, along with some other great components. And it was so transformational for Phil that he's like, let's do this. Because like they don't need the money. He doesn't need the money. He was so transformed that he wanted to share it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really cool.
What a good story.
Yeah.
So you mentioned why you like working in the health space and health and wellness space, and you've been in this space for a while now. What's the most challenging part about working in this category?
It's interesting. What's challenging is that there's so many people who, I don't want to say like rip and reapply or copycat, but it's so easy to get your foot in the door, especially with D2C and Amazon, right? But because of that, and because of, like, let's be honest, like AI, like what's happening right now, I get pitched all the time on fake UGC. Wow, that really scares me, right? So like what's happening is, because it's so easy to enter in D2C and Amazon, and because it's so easy to have AI generated scripts and AI and fake UGC and all of that, the people just, they're craving like authority. Like, give me the facts. How can I trust you? How do I trust you? And so that's the hardest part, is how do you build trust when everybody can lie and do Me Too and all of that. And people should be like demanding for you to show them the proof and show your clinicals and highlight your clinicals in a way that's digestible to them, and do the certifications, but also, find the partners who are authentic to the story, and can share that journey. So for me, demonstrating that is probably the hardest part, because it can be very crowded, but it's also really rewarding.
That's awesome.
Because it's not that hard to do if you have great products.
Yeah, true. But yeah, the credibility building
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting is like previously, I think the switch to influencers was because we felt like they were regular people giving us a glimpse into their lives. Now everybody knows that that's fake, right?
Right.
Like everybody knows that UGC, you pay for UGC. Like people just inherently know it, and they
Yeah.
just it's like the new just banner ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why people really got into podcasts, because they had this like parasocial relationship with the podcast person that they're listening to. But then, you know, as these podcasts grow, they're hawking ads, and it's like, so it's interesting. And then again with AI, what's interesting is how do you show that, build that trust and show like authenticity and that you're real. And it's almost like, okay, well now we're almost veering towards medical authority. Like, give me testimonials from doctors who've actually referred this to their patients, right? Like, Nutrafol actually, like, was front row. They do, this, right? Yeah. They really led the way there, and it was so smart. Or Ritual did such a great job and does such a great job of transparency. Here's exactly where we source everything. Now that's table stakes. It's not a nice to have. I think it's table stakes. Doing your own clinical studies. Partnering with athletes has been an interesting trend. Like, athletes are the new influencers. Why? Because we can see they're strong and they can't put crap in their body.
Right.
They can't. They have to be choosy. So, yeah, I think that's kind of where it's going. And that's it's been a fun evolution.
What trends in the wellness space right now do you think are like overhyped?
I mean, I'm just over hacks. I'm over
like all the biohacking. Are you over that?
Well, I live in LA, so we'll always be.
Not totally.
So not totally. But I just whatever, like, oh, this is the latest channel you have to be on. This is the latest trend. Like,
yeah.
Oh, if you're not on App Lovin', you're missing out. Or guess what? That could be great for your brand. We can't be everything to everyone, and we have to really be ruthlessly focused on owning the channels that we know our customer is at. So for me, it's just the trend hopping and hacks. I hate when people are, here's the other thing. And it doesn't matter if it's wellness. It's everywhere, right? But I don't like when maybe we're all guilty of looking at like the cool kids, right? So maybe there's brands that you're like, oh, they do everything right. But you don't really know what's going on over there. You don't know their retention. You don't know their media costs and all that stuff. But you look at how one brand does something and you try to rip and reapply it. It's a completely different business. What works for them may or may not work for you. I hate ad hacks. I hate whenever people who are like self-professed experts give everyone the same generic information. Mm-hmm. So
anti-hacks. You're anti-hacks.
I'm anti-hack.
No hacks.
I'm an anti-hack hack.
So talk a little bit about e-commerce. What's your take on the e-com landscape today? Are you, in your current role, are you looking at direct-to-consumer, Amazon, retail.com? Like what is it? What do you have to oversee today? And what do you think is most important?
Yeah. Well, what I oversee today is D2C and Amazon, and really brand and marketing. So we are a lean team, but we're growing very fast. And so we have some early retail right now, but we have aggressive expansion growths in retail. I will say that for most CPGs, the scale, I mean, you have to get into retail. There's very few that I think, and there's some, but there's very few that I think really can scale and execute to even then they only go to a certain point before they have to get into retail.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to name names, but
no, it's so true.
The best.
You have to.
The volume is, I'm sorry, but like the volume is just insane. How you succeed is honestly being consistent. Okay, I'll just use it. Here's the analogy.
Use it, yes. We love an analogy.
Okay. I was thinking about this on the drive over. Maybe a weird one. Selena Gomez. Super gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
Benny. Arguably less gorgeous than Selena, right? How did Benny Blanco get Selena? Two things. One, he's authentically cool because he is who he is no matter where he shows up. He is consistently him. He brings the same voice, energy, style, quirky as it may be. It's him, right? So for a brand, whether you're on D2C, retail.com, Amazon, you need to be consistent with your message, your look, your feel throughout. Because if you, again, not to be, if you're constantly rebranding and second guessing, you're looking backwards, and that's a repellent, right? Like, that's just not cool. The other way he got Selena, I'm assuming, is because he probably makes her feel really good. He probably makes her feel loved and safe and sexy and beautiful and confident, right? All of our products, we exist to help people solve a problem. How do you feel when that problem is solved? Do you feel confident? Do you feel relief? Like, that is what you need to stay true to in all of your messaging. So I'm going to give an example from my past company. We were a supplement gummy brand. We're predominantly targeting moms, right? It was our largest SKU was kids vitamins. And what really resonated at the end of the day was, we can alleviate some of that mom guilt. I know you're feeding your kid French fries. It's okay, because they won't eat anything else at this age, and nobody's perfect. But if you know what I mean? Like, we're helping alleviate that mom guilt. Or there's other products that make you feel like that sense of control, right? So, like, there's Cadence, those really cute little containers for traveling. Like, you can have peace of mind. Nothing is going to spill. You've got that one little, if you're going on a lot of work trips and there's things outside of your control, this is one thing that you can control. It's not going to spill. You have all your products at home, so you don't have to buy rando samples that may not react to your skin the same way. Like, it's your stuff. It's peace of mind. How do you make your customers feel? That is the most important thread throughout all of your marketing communications from start to finish, whether it's the landing page that you scan in with a QR code, whether it's the TV commercial, whether it's a billboard or an email. So,
I mean, those two things are things that every brand, no matter service-based, product-based, doesn't matter. If you can do those two things right, you're going to be okay. But I think we overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
We overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Also, I love a Selena analogy.
You know,
I just have to say,
one, but
it works.
Go with it.
I think you have to go with it.
She's such a goddess.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. What do you wish you knew earlier in your career?
Well, I wish I knew that it's okay to explore, it's okay to flex, and it's okay to change your mind. You know, just because you think that you want to go one route, or that you want to be one type of, like, you have your embodiment of this is what success looks like. It's okay if you get there, if you're like, this isn't actually what I wanted, or that's not actually right for me. You know, like, I think our careers can be a little fluid, a little flexible, and then if you just pick a little pieces that work for you and put in your pocket and keep going on your journey, you're going to be great.
Yeah. I used to go so hard on down different paths. Like, and I guess now it's almost easier to do it when you're trying to build a business, because you can, like, choose big topics and be like, this is going to be my next adventure, and I'm going to go figure this out. But I had this moment when I was at Ben & Jerry's where I was like, DMPs, DSPs, like, this is my thing. Like, I am going to crack this
all
code.
the acronyms.
Literally, I was like, Adobe, which was like, you know, that they are having their time in the sun, right? I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm like, I'm going to learn. I wanted to learn how to code. When my boss was like, what? No. But I was like, I want to be like the tech girl. Yeah. Like, this is going to be my niche. And I did very aggressively do projects and explore that space for probably like a year and a half, 18 months. And I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah. And that's fair.
Like, I learned a lot, and I'm glad I did it. Like, those things, to your point, you take little things from those experiences that I can still use today, and I could speak to those types of tools, and I know some of the language, but, like, is that going to be my passion and now I'm a MarTech specialist? Absolutely not. Like, no. 100%. But that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people are just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to like it, or I don't know if I'm going to be good at it, and I'd rather just not.
But you don't know if you don't do it.
You don't know.
That's the other thing I'd say.
You don't know.
Yeah, to your point, I thought for sure that I wanted to be a brand manager, right? Mm-hmm. And so most traditional brand management jobs, you have to get an MBA. So I went to UCLA, and I was so excited to get into brand management. And I realized I actually don't want to be a brand manager. I love marketing, I love creative, but I really love digital, and I love startup space, right? So it's a different role. But the biggest thing I learned from my MBA is how to work with people from different fields. So like having to do projects with finance people and engineers, and the way they solve problems is very different than how I look at things. And that might have been like the best reward that I got from my MBA. Or I thought I wanted to start my own business. And so, and I may one day, but doing it alone, I realized, wow, I would really love a co-pilot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Doing it alone, I realized I loved the building part, and and I had to trust myself on the logos, the fonts, all these decisions, these financial investments. But I also realized the pieces that I don't love and that aren't my strengths. And that's okay. That for me, what I found is I get to be a marketer, and I get to build at really lean, high growth startups. So for me, that's a great fit.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff.
Okay, so maybe one of our last hot takes. Be honest. MBA, was it worth it?
Ooh. It's worth it if you work it.
Okay.
And here's what I mean by that. And this is the same truth. Like, our conference is worth it. Is the content that great? No. Right? Mm-hmm. You go to a conference to have one good conversation. If you meet one badass person who is a good person, your network is your net worth, right? Like, you can put in your back pocket and learn from, bounce ideas off of, and trust. That's worth it. So same thing with an MBA. Yes, you can use ChatGPT to learn all you want. You can live stream. Ivy League professors now are sharing their courses. You get out what you put in, but is it worth it if you just go to get a stamp? No. Okay. But if you make the network, if you use it as a place to flex and stretch, right? Like, join the weird clubs, do these internships, figure out what works for you. But now there's some industries where you do, need that stamp, but I'm not in one of those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's a fair answer.
Yeah.
That's a fair answer. Yeah. I mean, this is not my time to be giving advice, but on our topic before, I just feel like I have to say this since I have a platform for it right now. I don't understand. If I had to give advice to anybody who's building their career right now, look at the company you're working for, look at what no one else is doing, and just do it and learn it. And even if you don't think you're going to like it or you're not going to be good at it, I don't care. Like, some of the things I feel like I used to throw myself into was just because I was like, no one else is trying to figure this out. And that's how you become a very, very valuable employee.
1,000%. Like, if you mean what advice would I give people in their 20s, get in the room.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes to get in the room.
Who cares if you're like, oh, I don't feel passionate about this. I don't care.
Nobody's passionate about anything in your 20s. Like, let's be honest. No, but also, like, all entry-level work, you're updating spreadsheets, okay? Like, we all were.
You're taking notes.
Right? Yeah. You're taking notes. Yeah. And guess what? If you take great notes and you're proactive and you volunteer to do work and you actually, like, put yourself out there. Yeah. Take risks. Like, do the work, show up. Absolutely. Like, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory. Yeah. At 21, did you think you'd be doing what you're doing now?
I'm not surprised I am where I'm at. I knew I would be a VP. I knew I'd be moving and shaking, and I knew I would love what I do for a living, and I knew I'd be in the creative and marketing space. I was in ad club, to be fair. Like, I've actually always wanted to be in advertising.
Okay.
But I thought I was probably going to start my own ad agency.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was going to be a brand manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised where I'm at, but I couldn't quite envision where I'm at, if that makes sense.
It does. I love it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, this was fun. I loved all the hot takes.
Oh, yay. We should tune in next week for more hot takes. I can't wait.
I know, right? Where can people find you?
Find me on LinkedIn, but don't spam me or I'll block you. Sorry. I don't want your service. I'll reach out if I want to.
Don't bother me. Yeah, it's fair.
But if you want referrals of like really great consultants or contractors, or you want to just like vibe on marketing, I'd love to chat with you.
Okay.
Please don't try to sell me your service.
Yeah. No one wants that.
I'm already working with mine. That's all you need.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so you guys can find us on Instagram at namedrop.pod, and I'm at Malbakes. Thanks so much.